Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting out tonight is actually an update on the hurricane that hit Florida yesterday, Hurricane Milton, and also to give an update on some of the things that's going on in North Carolina since their hurricane last week. It seems like the mainstream media, okay, and the shills at large, be it on this platform, on X, on Facebook, are coming out like roaches after you flick on the light, okay, in a garbage room. I mean, I have been seeing so many people, okay, I mean, just ruthlessly bad-mouthing Trump, bad-mouthing DeSantis, bad-mouthing anybody, okay, that has a gripe with how FEMA is handling things in North Carolina. They're just ruthlessly going after people, victims in North Carolina that are putting out their video. Now, Harris and company are pushing out with the mainstream media and also with Mayorkas that this is a big misinformation, disinformation campaign that is dangerous, and basically saying that all the information, okay, that's coming out, and if people like me or anybody else is talking about it and trying to spread the awareness of what's going on, that is disinformation and it's actually hurting people. So my thing is this: if that's the case, okay, and all we keep seeing is endless hours of videos of victims on the ground in these areas, okay, in North Carolina, that are saying that whole towns are gone, okay. Remember, that hurricane hit 150 counties from Florida all the way up. There is video of people talking about that the death count, okay, is not what is actually being put, is not the exact count, because people are claiming that they have seen so many bodies like in the river just coming down with the water, okay. And on top of all that, there is more and more video coming out of how people are being pushed away. And what you don't see, okay, is that you don't see the military, once again, the military, the National Guard, or the squads of FEMA workers, okay, helping out the people in, the survivors in the towns, in the counties in North Carolina. But that's all supposedly disinformation, even though in this day and age of technology, everybody pretty much has a working camera on their cell phone. And you would think that not only they have it, but you would think that the mainstream media would be out there themselves trying to disprove what everyone else is saying. No, they leave it up to just words. Okay, they leave it up to shills, leftist shills that have big platforms to just go and just disgustingly berate every single person. And most of the stuff that comes out their mouth, okay, is against Donald Trump and his supporters. And it's like, why are you even bringing up Trump and his supporters when it's people, okay, in North Carolina who are suffering because they've lost so much? But this is what they keep doing, okay? They don't have the video, they don't have the audio. In other words, they don't have the receipts. All they have is their words, and they want people to believe it, okay? And they feel that the more you degrade people, that it becomes more believable. Okay, I mean, it's disgustingly horrible. Now, This video that I'm putting together, I'm asking everybody to, to go along with it. Okay, there's a couple of things that I want to say, and definitely at the end there is a video, is a quick video that I want to show that actually came out yesterday. So people can see exactly how some of these small towns are working in North Carolina to help themselves, because FEMA, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the rest of the government are not there to help them. Okay? And I really want to see anybody from the left come out and make a comment about anybody in that video, because you're going to be surprised who's in the video talking. Okay? But before I continue, a couple of quick things. I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also leaving a link to Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign if anybody can help him. Even if it's just words of encouragement and prayer, everything is greatly appreciated. Another thing is, I finally got in contact with family members in Orlando. Everybody's doing fine, thank you, Lord. Even though power's out, they don't know how long it's going to be out, because supposedly power's out for like hundreds of thousands of people. But Ron DeSantis already has, I believe, close to like maybe 20,000 or more utility workers that came from all over the United States. So kudos to that, because he's jumping on it, especially being hit twice in less than, less than 2 weeks or something like that. So it's just something that, I know a lot of people don't like Ron DeSantis. That's fine, but it's funny how this one man can get so many people together, can rally so many different organizations and resources to get ready, even though there will be a potential of fatalities. But it's putting things into perspective. So like that, before, during, and after, it gets taken care of so fast, okay, that governors and mayors, especially political officials, could take a look at how Ron DeSantis is doing it, and maybe get their asses up to North Carolina and try to follow suit. Okay, I'll be holding my breath on that, but that's just my opinion. But with all that being said, let's play some of these videos and I'll put my thoughts into it. Here we go. And one more thing, forgive me. The main video that I want to show you is, there's so many conspiracies. I'm not going to say conspiracies. Okay. There is information floating around about North Carolina and why the Biden administration, the government, the powers that be, are not really that I shouldn't say hard pressed. They're not really in a hurry to go and help out the people in North Carolina. So we're going to play this first, and then we're going to get into that main video I'm going to put my thoughts on. Here we go.
Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, hearing all that, probably knew it already, joins us live from the Emergency Management Headquarters in Tallahassee. Governor, you've been there quite often. What's the greatest challenge with Milton as opposed to Helene or others you've had to deal with over the last 7 years?
Well, I think as Janice mentioned, this is tracking very close to that Tampa Bay area. I would note that anyone on the western peninsula of Florida, just wherever that eye wall is scheduled to go across now on these cones, that can shift. I think right now they have it just south of Tampa Bay in Manatee County. It could shift further north, and it could shift further south in terms of having the most immediate impacts. But that Tampa Bay area is very low-lying. Pinellas County, where I grew up, is surrounded by water. It's a peninsula. It is just vulnerable to storm surge generally. This is a storm that's going to be hitting sometime Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. The water's already going to be high with the tide. So that's a huge, huge concern. Now, it had gotten up to 180 mile an hour when it was going towards the Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf of Mexico. That is an incredibly powerful storm. It has weakened since then. It may strengthen today. The forecasts are that it will make landfall weaker than it is today. Let's pray that that's the case. The surge is going to be a big enough problem, and hopefully the winds are manageable. Most of the buildings in Florida are going to be able to handle a Category 3 storm. So there's a lot going on. And oh, by the way, we just had a Category 4 storm impact a lot of people up the west coast of Florida. One of the issues that we saw in places like the Pinellas County beaches and Manatee County beaches was there was a lot of debris. And these local governments have to pick it up. They have contractors that do it, but it wasn't being done fast enough. So I did this weekend. I took all...
Okay, I'm going to cut that real quick. Okay, this video came out 2 days ago. He was talking about the hurricane that hit yesterday. But did you hear what he just said? Okay, they got all these contractors. Listen one more time to what he says.
Pinellas County beaches and Manatee County beaches there was a lot of debris. And these local governments have to pick it up. They have contractors that do it, but it wasn't being done fast enough. So I did this weekend. I took all of our state agencies, any truck we had anywhere in the state who's involved in normal missions, we diverted it over to those barrier islands.
Okay, you guys heard that? The local governments weren't working fast enough. So he took it upon himself, like a true leader, and said, you know what? Since you guys are basically, I'm not going to say lollygagging. I'm not going to try to paint them in a wrong light. I'll just leave his words to it because, like he said, they weren't working fast enough. So he decided to take it upon himself, okay, and basically lead and say, you know what? Back up 3 or 4 feet, back up, okay? The adults coming into the room, let me do what I got to do. Let me go get other people. Let's get into this. Let's roll up our sleeves and dig into this because we have another storm coming and we need to get all this out the way. Okay? Because we're going to have basically more damage. Okay? And you cannot have piles of damage from one storm to the next. I mean, unless they're like literally back to back, like one day after another, then that's one thing. But what I'm trying to show here is how Ron DeSantis prepared before the first storm, took care of it. The day right after, by his words, was able to take extra resources, send them up to North Carolina, continue to have Florida function business as usual, get prepared a week later for another storm, okay, and then take it from there the very next day, which is today. This came out 2 days ago. We're going to play a little more. Then I'm going to show you the video that came out today with him. Here we go.
Doing a 24/7 debris mission. So we've been able in 48 hours with our state assets be able to do as much debris removal as any of the contractors who've been doing this for almost 2 weeks. Wow. We actually had to pry open one of the landfills in Pinellas County because it wasn't operating 24/7 as my executive order did. But we've made a big dent in that, and the issue is if you have this debris laying out, it can become projectiles, and then the storm surge, it creates more damage. So it's very difficult. We're going to get hit basically 2 weeks on the dot from getting hit by Helene, but we felt it was important that we did that. We also have now close to 40,000 utility linemen
Look at that.
in the state of Florida are en route. And remember, there's a lot of these workers that are still in Georgia, North Carolina, and those places. We've had to bring them in all the way from California, so they're going to be ready to do the power restoration mission. And then we'll have 8,000 Florida National Guard when the storm hits, all our urban search and rescue, Florida State Guard, Fish and Wildlife, all that will be there, ready to go. So we're prepared for this. This is not easy. I think it's been very taxing on our citizens to have to go through this. Just as you're starting to pick up the pieces from Helene, now you see another monster storm bearing down. But we'll get through this. I think the important thing today is you still have time to execute your plan. You do not have to get on the interstate and drive hundreds of miles. There are shelters open all throughout the state of Florida. In your county, there's shelters that are in higher ground and that are hurricane proof. So if you don't want to get on the interstate, you don't have to. And there's a wide variety of options. So if you are in one of those surge prone areas, take action now. We have all day today. As we get into tomorrow, you're going to start seeing effects most likely in Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so you basically heard what he had to say about basically how they prepared, how they got ready, all the agencies that he already had, assembled together, how he was able to get people help from all over the United States, even as far as California. Okay, this was for the hurricane that came yesterday that hit Florida. Okay, he basically did the same thing 2 weeks ago when Hurricane Helene came through. My question, and it's probably going to be a question that's on millions of people's minds, is if North Carolina knew, okay, that hurricane was coming, granted, maybe they didn't expect the severity of it, of how, but how is it that they did not prepare, and not trying to knock North Carolina, their officials, anything like that? How is it that they did not prepare for that? And the reason, in my opinion, is because they didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. Okay? So with that being said, if you knew that, okay, this is not something that happens to us, so we're not going to prepare for something like this, whatever government officials, the next question has to be, why didn't and why hasn't the federal government mobilized, okay, so many people, so many agencies in order to get them up there the day right after? It makes you wonder, okay? And I don't think that there is an excuse beyond that, because all you have is the governor of Florida who was able to do all that. Why couldn't Biden and Harris rally the troops in order to give the same support, any kind of heavy support, to the people in North Carolina? But yet, when people criticize that, you have people like Harris, Biden, Mayorkas, mainstream media, the shows on social media, everybody criticizing people like me. As a matter of fact, I had 2 comments on my last video deleted, and I left one comment calling Mayorkas a POS, okay? Within 10 minutes, I had a notification put on my screen telling me that the comment was deleted, okay? And another comment that all I said was that the Democrats are wicked and evil. And I was left a notification, okay, while I was answering messages, saying that they deleted those 2 messages, and that if I continue, they will either take away my right to leave messages, or they will delete my channel for criticizing the lies that are coming from Biden's administration. Okay, so that's that on that. We're going to go to the next video. So I just wanted everybody to see this. Now I'm going to show you right quick, before we get to the main video that I want to show everybody, of how DeSantis is handling yesterday's hurricane today. Here we go.
Lucy County, we looked at some of the damage for some of the tornadoes. Unfortunately, they had a number of fatalities in a community over.
Okay, before I go any further, this was put out 4 hours ago. In case anybody wasn't watching the weather yesterday, supposedly there were 128 tornado warnings, okay, in Florida yesterday, as that hurricane started, went through, and ended. 128 tornado warnings, and a few of them dropped. And they said that they weren't these like these water spouts that come on land and they dissipate. They said no, these were big, significant tornadoes that tore through. Okay, and you heard what he just said. There was some fatalities. Okay, I think the number as of today, I may be wrong. Some people said 10, some people said 25. Not too sure, but I guess as the days go on with the cleanup and more information will come out. I'm sure a lot of people got hurt. So what happens to those people, depending on the severity of their injuries only time can tell. So don't forget, to say prayers for everyone involved. But let's listen to what he has to say. Here we go.
In St. Lucie County because of one of the tornadoes, and these things are really tough. And we did see which is standard with these hurricanes, but you saw the tornadoes, and they did do some significant damage, even all the way over on the east coast of Florida. We've also been able to tour. We did a driving tour of Siesta Key. Was able to see some of the damage that was out there. Also saw what appeared to me to be some of the leftover debris from Helene that was out in the street or whatnot. So we got a sense of what's going on there. Then, of course, here, we're here looking. I mean, there's damage behind me with some of these. Honestly, for the mobile home stuff, I thought there would be more roofs. So some of these mobile homes, I mean, they've done a lot better in Florida over the years. We flew in over a number of the communities as well. There were definitely some roofs that were really bad, but then there were others that did really well. Another thing I think I can say just by doing our tour with
Okay, now, you see this pile over here, right? Obviously, this is where either one of the tornadoes and the storm combined went and did this destruction. Do you see the amount of people out here? Okay? Going through the rubble. You know what they're looking for. Has anybody, and can anybody, and I'm directing this question to all you leftists out there, all you leftist shills that think that you're American and patriotic for bad-mouthing people, okay, on the right, for kissing Kamala Harris's ass, okay, for backing up, okay, your overlords on the right, making it seem that everything we're talking about is conspiracies and disinformation, misinformation. I dare you, I challenge you to send me video, okay, of groups of people like this, not civilians, okay, not the people, not the victims, not the survivors, okay, of FEMA, the National Guard, the military, any organization that Biden and Harris has sent into North Carolina to help. If you can send me videos like this, showing, not next week, not the week after, as of the day right after the hurricane in North Carolina, okay, I challenge you to do it. And the reason why I say that is because you people make it seem as if the victims in North Carolina that are putting out information, hundreds upon hundreds of videos since it happened, that it's all conspiracy. Okay? That it's all disinformation, misinformation. That Harris and Biden are doing everything they can to go out there and help them. When the only people you see doing anything out there are the citizens. But let's continue.
Siesta Key, I mean, our buildings that were built, in the last 20, 30 years, I mean, they did very well. They look good. There was obviously damage. There were trees. Some of the structures were damaged. But, you have some of those newer homes that have been built with a more updated building code. They seem to fare very well. So we'll see as the damage assessments come in and as the reports. Now, we have at the state level, we're continuing supporting search and rescue operations. As of this afternoon, at least 340 individuals and 49 pets have been rescued. Florida National Guard, Florida law enforcement, and urban search and rescue teams are continuing to work throughout the day. We've got a lot of rescue craft operational. Hundreds of rescuers are engaged in over 125 missions in 26 counties. Some of that's in conjunction with the local law enforcement and fire and other first responders. I know a lot of the sheriffs are doing a lot of good work. This storm came in the way it did. The dirty side of the storm was kind of Sarasota, Charlotte area. And then the northern side of the storm, it actually, instead of doing storm surge into Tampa Bay, it sucked it out. But the northern side of the storm had a lot of precipitation. I mean, they were just getting water dumped on them. So whereas Helene created a lot of storm surge in that part of the state, this one didn't do that there, but it created like inland flooding. And and you're going to, so you see that in Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. You also got an awful lot of water dumped in the center and northern parts of the state on the northern side of the storm. So we're going to continue to respond for those as appropriate.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there for lack of time. So you heard more of how he's got all these people on the ground in what, 26 counties, I think he just said, or something like that. That's a lot of manpower. This is just the governor of Florida. Just the governor of Florida doing all this. Okay? Not caring who's Republican, who's Democrat, who's leftist, who's woke, who's not woke. He's looking to save the people that live and reside in Florida. Okay? And you mean to tell me, with all the power that the federal government has, with all the power at the hands of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that they could not round up the troops in the tens of thousands to go to North Carolina? To this day, to this day, you would think that they would have thousands, tens of thousands, okay, of people out of North Carolina, up in the mountains, search and rescue, whatever it takes. Helicopters. I mean, the skies in North Carolina should be flooded. Okay? But no. How is it that Ron DeSantis gets so much flack from the left because he's against indoctrinating children, sexualization of children, but yet he can go out by himself and do everything within his power, okay, to help out whoever in Florida and have enough money and resources to send help to North Carolina. But yet all Kamala could do is make a small press conference talking about we're going to give them $750 a piece, whatever. We've all heard that story already. But then go on the warpath and criticize DeSantis, saying that he's trying to politicize the fact that he doesn't want to answer her phone calls and or take her help, when Ron DeSantis came out and said that he did good under the Trump administration and he's doing good with Biden because he has had great communication with both of them during storms, and they're doing it. His gripe with her, in case none of you leftists with your channels and your platforms want to admit it, because all you like to do is work with sound bites, is that he basically said, she's not the president. She never cared before. And now all of a sudden, she wants to act as if she's the president, knowing very well that he's on the phone with Biden, taking care of this. But she's saying that he's trying to politicize this. People on the left are saying that he's trying to politicize this. If he was trying to politicize it, he'd be asking people every time they go rescue somebody, how do you vote? He's not. The person that's politicizing this is Kamala, because all of a sudden she wants to act all presidential, make it to Florida, knowing that it's all under control, because he's obviously got it under control. But instead of going to two places that are not under control, number one, and I'm going to throw it in there, is the border. Number two, North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee, they got hit the hardest, especially Asheville, North Carolina. You'd think she'd be going out there, okay, with her whole army of intel and rescue agencies, and they would just look like cockroaches from the sky out there scouring, trying to help and save people, but they're not. Which I'm going to get into my next video. And people can say, well, it's a conspiracy. We'll see on the next video. Here we go. Now this video I'm going to play for you was put up by Hustle. Okay? I did a reaction to one of his videos a few days ago. You all watched it. I got a good response on it. I want everybody to keep an open mind to this, okay? When Hustle puts stuff together, this man does a lot of research. Okay, so the question is, why isn't Biden and Harris sending all the resources that they can to go help out the people in North Carolina with all the cleanup, search and rescue, whatever the case is? Because supposedly the death toll is not at 200, which, I mean, that's phenomenal if it is. I mean, that's a lot of people. But there's talk that it's way more than that. Some people are saying that it's well over 1,000. Okay? Those numbers, when they come out, it's going to shock a lot of people. But now let's dive on to this video, and maybe, just maybe, we can all take it with a grain of salt, this is the reason why they're not helping the people in North Carolina. Brace yourselves. Oh, sorry.
Please don't scroll. Please watch this entire video, because you will see about 6 or 7 or 8 pictures at the end of it showing you proof of everything that I'm about to say. So please watch this entire video. So between Kings Mountain and Chimney Rock, North Carolina is the largest lithium deposit in the world, and the rights are owned by Albemarle Global. And on September the 24th, they actually applied for federal and state permits to redirect and reconstruct their mining operation between Kings Mountain and Chimney Rock. So Albemarle is owned mostly by stockholders, Vanguard and BlackRock Group. Well, guess who the biggest investor in BlackRock and Vanguard is? Douglas Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband. So Albemarle is home headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when these permits get approved, they're proposing $250 billion yearly in mining. Douglas Emhoff's stock holdings just went up substantially. And guess who is the final approval for the permits? That would be our lovely BP. So, as I said, I'm going to post about 6 or 7, maybe 8 pictures at the end of this video, and you can see for yourself. It's a disgrace, the loss of life.
Now, I'm not gonna read any of this. I'm just gonna let it play through. If you guys want to rewatch the video, pause it and read it at your own leisure.
Now, I think by now, all of you know that something is just not right with what's been going on in North Carolina ever since the hurricane and the storm hit the state. However, some people might still not believe that companies like BlackRock and Vanguard might be behind this. And it might be an even tougher pill to swallow when you realize that your sitting vice president and the current presidential nominee might profit very heavily from all this land grabbing that seems to be going on. Well, if you're still on the fence...
Now, I'm going to cut it real short right here, okay? And I want everybody to pay attention. And it's not going to happen now. It may not happen in another year or so. But here's the deal. We all know that Nancy Pelosi started out dirt poor. And now this woman is worth over $200 million. Okay? She says... Well, she's been in some... stock trading scandals. Everything points back to her husband. She has nothing to do with it. Right. Okay. Whatever. If you look at what Kamala Harris is worth now, okay, regardless of if she becomes president or she doesn't, mark it on this day today, me making this video, pay attention to her, how can I say, I'm not gonna say stock portfolio, because that can be pushed aside. Pay attention to her wealth in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You know what I find really ironic? That if all this is true, if it's all true, okay, how in the world does a person like Kamala Harris and a person like Nancy Pelosi get hooked up with two people that are so good with stocks? How is it also that Nancy Pelosi's husband was ready to sell a shit ton of stocks until some scandal came up and they were going to make a lot of money, and then that was blown out of proportion, and they were like, no, they had none, they didn't know that this company was going to fold. So basically it was thwarted on them and he wasn't able to sell the stock. But just imagine if he did. He was supposed to sell it the day before, and I believe, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, I'm open to criticism, but then he did sell some stock at another time and made a lot of money, and supposedly there was supposed to be some policy that was supposed to be passed, okay, through Congress, through Nancy Pelosi, and he made a lot of money. So what are the odds that she could find a man like that, and the odds that if all this is true, that Kamala Harris could find a man like her husband and his name is in the middle of this conspiracy for the land in North Carolina? Think about that, people. But like I said, from this day forward, pay attention to her wealth. Nobody in Congress, since the left talks about taxing and having checks and balances against the filthy rich, well, I guess she could put her name on the list too. Let's continue.
The video I just showed you should be enough to sway you because, as the man explained, Albemarle Global, which holds mining rights to these huge mining fields near Kings Mountain, has received huge investments from both BlackRock and Vanguard. And you can confirm it through the NASDAQ site, which shows that both of these investors hold about 24 million shares of the chemical company out of a total of 108 million. And a simple search will show you that Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff, have invested millions into their retirement accounts of BlackRock and Vanguard. But I think profiting from the loss of other people is not even the biggest crime that Kamala's committed so far. I think she and Biden are pretty much responsible for this gold rush for lithium in our great country, and I have a way to prove it. I'm sure many of you remember the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which this administration passed almost 2 years ago. If you remember, the vice president was gloating about it all over the internet.
Today is a historic day. With the passage of this bill, the United States Congress is putting in place the president's agenda, and our president, Joe Biden, pledged that we would bring down healthcare costs, that we would address the climate crisis, and that corporations would pay their fair share. And that is what is happening on the path toward building America's future and strengthening America's family. It's a good day.
A whopping $660 billion are going to be spent on climate action incentives. Now, why does that matter, you might be asking? Well, because as most financial institutes predicted all the way back in 2022, this act was tailor-made to create a lithium crunch in our country. You see, the act gave huge tax credits for anyone buying electric vehicles, but this act made it clear that the final assembly of clean vehicles qualifying for the tax credit will have to take place in North America. And critical minerals used in batteries, including lithium, are going to have to be sourced from either North America or U.S. trading partners. Beginning in 2024, minerals or components sourced from foreign entities of concern like Russia and China will make vehicles ineligible for subsidies.
Wow, check that out. Does anybody think this is a conspiracy so far? Let me know in the comments.
This basically meant that car manufacturers like Tesla and even the German brands had to source all of this lithium from US soil, and that's how this gold rush began. Now, even more interestingly, at the time, there was only one company producing any lithium in the US, and you guessed it, it was Albemarle Global, which was extracting lithium from Nevada. And thanks to this Inflation Reduction Act, overnight, this small company became a front runner in the global lithium market. So yeah, even though she might not have received billions of dollars directly from BlackRock or Vanguard, Kamala Harris certainly made some really big friends by helping out these investors and setting up the U.S. lithium mining.
Anybody know this face right here? He's in Congress.
Operations. And now these same companies are making lives hell for average Americans in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. I mean, it looks like they're basically using FEMA as enforcers to make sure rescue efforts are as slow as possible. I mean, just take a look at how FEMA choppers are
Now, this is what I was talking about the other day. Here's the video. Now, supposedly this is a FEMA helicopter. Some people say it's a military helicopter. This is one of the drop-off centers of them bringing all the supplies and stuff like that for the victims. I mean, I'm not going to play stupid on this, okay? But this could be almost anybody being paid to do this. It could be FEMA. It could be the government. It could be mercenaries. My thing is this. Why, oh why would anybody do something like this? Okay, here's the video. That people say it's a conspiracy. That didn't happen. Here it goes.
Rescue efforts are as slow as possible. I mean, just take a look at how FEMA choppers are destroying donation camps left and right.
They do that. That helicopter just came around here and kicked up everything. Now he's out.
Now, before any of you leftists come out and try to say something like, well, maybe it's not what we think it is. I'm sorry, but not that I am a helicopter pilot, okay? But how many times has anybody heard, if you're smart enough, that this is the kind of damage that helicopters do, not to stand, okay, anywhere under them? How many times has anybody seen a helicopter, whether it's military, whether it's rescue, whether it's some air show, ever go over people and anywhere where there could be flying debris? I don't want to hear that maybe they were making a mistake, they were going to land. Land where? Okay? That was no mistake. Okay? Whoever was in that chopper, you're nothing but a damn traitor to this country. Okay? You're a treasonous piece of shit. Okay? There's no such thing as I was taking orders. Because your constitutional oath should have told you, if you even believe in it, that by committing that act right there, okay, was going against your constitutional oath. But it's all conspiracy, right? I mean, that's what the left keeps saying. That it's us crazy MAGA supporters. What about these people out there? Do we even know if they're MAGA supporters, if they're Democrat, Republican, liberal? Because they look like people that are volunteering to help out the victims in North Carolina. But somebody sent this piece of shit, or pieces of shit, okay, to go and do this. And if it wasn't them and it was somebody acting alone, why isn't the mainstream media covering it to find out who did this? Think about that. But let's continue.
Did they just do that on purpose? Wow, that was crazy. Brother, I got him on camera. But do y'all really think that was on purpose?
Absolutely.
This kind of blatant disregard for other people is absolutely disgusting. But if you just check out this FEMA meeting, you'll realize that it's only part of the master plan for them, and they're just doing the job that they've been assigned.
So at this point, we pretty much all know that the FEMA disaster relief of the hurricane victims has been just absolutely atrocious. And most normal people would kind of think, okay, well, that's just because the government is incompetent. I mean, because the other option you'd have to think of is, well, they're malicious. They're malicious. I just found this clip from a FEMA disaster relief meeting in which they're not only talking about how the interests of gay people need to be prioritized during disaster relief, but also they're saying that the FEMA response isn't about getting the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. It's about disaster equity. Check it out.
LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that, it's just compounding on itself.
You know, the shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity.
Absolutely horrifying what's going on behind the scenes.
It is disgusting. It is totally disgusting what they did with that helicopter, number one. It's even more disgusting the way this whole damn gay agenda is being pushed and shoved down people's throats as if gay people are the only ones that matter in this country, in this world. But these are the people that get put in by the leftists. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of my subscribers are gay. There's people in my life that are family and friends that are gay. They know where I stand. They feel the same way. Okay? They feel the same way. So this is not a knock on gay people. Okay? This is a knock on the people who get hired, who try to push this agenda and make it seem that even during a disaster, they should get first priority. Just like you have people in Chicago and New York, okay, not Chicago, sorry, in Atlanta, I believe, okay, who say that during a disaster, that black people get affected the most. I don't know, but I've been watching a lot of video from this hurricane and other hurricanes throughout the years. I mean, look at Hurricane Katrina. Okay? White and black people were affected. I just don't understand why these people keep pushing this agenda and make it seem that it's okay, and if you speak out against it, then you're like the lowest form of life on this planet. When they're the ones trying to push and shove an ideology down everybody's throat, even during a natural disaster. Incredible.
And it makes you wonder who's pulling the strings. I can't certainly say it's Joe Biden, since the man doesn't even remember that we got hit by a hurricane.
With how fast the news cycle is today, it's pretty easy to forget stories that happened just a couple days or weeks ago. But if you'll remember, the media was telling us just recently that Joe Biden's mental faculties are completely in shape. In fact, they were telling us he's the sharpest he's ever been.
Yep.
And every so often, I think it's important to remind you just how dishonest the media is, because today, when Joe Biden was asked about the areas affected by the hurricane, he couldn't even remember that a hurricane happened.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President? Okay? What are the states in the storm zone? What do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, so tell me, who is running the country? Who is handling this emergency response? If the president can't even remember what's happening in a national emergency, then who is? Who is managing this system? Clearly nobody, because emergency management has been absolutely horrific, and it's leaving families in absolute peril. What are we doing here, and why is half of the country accepting this leadership as normal?
Exactly.
And if it's not him, it certainly makes Kamala look even more guilty. But if I'm being honest, I think it's the multi-trillion-dollar investors like BlackRock and Vanguard and men like Larry Fink who have the final say when it comes to what is going on in North Carolina and other affected states. And if things keep going...
You know what I just find funny? That man's last name, Fink. Anybody remember the term rat fink? Incredible, huh? Pretty funny.
Going this way, pretty soon the entire town will be swallowed up by these mining operations and lawyers, and this guy explains perfectly just how that happens after every so-called natural disaster.
Guess who owns the rights to those mineral companies, the quartz and the lithium in North Carolina? BlackRock and Vanguard are the ones that will benefit off of all of that strip mining that they will be doing. And do you understand the level of destruction that they do to extract lithium out of those mines? Won't be anything left. So I want you guys to look up the Paradise Fires, especially if you are homeowners out in those areas. This is very, very, very important. During the Paradise Fires, that entire town was wiped out. Everything was gone. Very, very, very little of that survived. And what happened is that the lawyers came in and they made big group events for all these people, and they said, hey, we're gonna help all of you. We're gonna have this, we're gonna envelop, hundreds and thousands of these people into the same lawsuit. And what they did was they made the lawsuit. They got a huge lump sum. Then what they do is they take 25 to 35% of that lump sum for themselves, and then they divided the rest of the money to the town of Paradise. So guess what? That left people with less money to rebuild their homes.
Exactly.
So developers came in, bought up all that land, and even though they didn't have much resources out there other than timber, the property was worth a lot because they can build developments and, track housing and all that stuff out there, which is what they ended up doing. So all those folks that lived out there had property, been there for generations or whatever. They all lost their land because they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford to rebuild. They couldn't afford to pay their mortgages. And all these companies came in and just kicked them all out. And that's what they're going to do to you guys.
Now, this guy isn't making things up. Major news outlets have reported many times how the local citizens just got priced out, and now they simply can't afford to live in the town they once called home.
So there you go, people. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people are going to probably look at this and say, oh, this is all a conspiracy, whatever the case is. The man is obviously putting out information for anybody to go online and look at it. Look it up. It's not that hard. Especially with those companies owning stock in other companies. Because when I was doing video on the Lahaina fires, okay, and then the fires broke out in Canada, I did some research, and I came to find out myself that, yes, BlackRock and Vanguard, okay, owns property in Hawaii, and they own stock in the electric company in Hawaii, if I remember correctly. When I looked up the fires that all of a sudden happened in Canada, in the certain areas where they were burning, there were certain, communities, okay, and companies that build those communities. And when I looked into those companies, who owns stock in those companies? BlackRock and Vanguard. So what are the odds, okay, that we've had two disasters in America, the North Carolina and Hawaii, there's a fire disaster in Canada, and BlackRock and Vanguard they just own property and or stock of companies that own property in those areas. And what are the odds, if it's true, remember I'm just doing a reaction to this video, what are the odds that if it's true that Kamala Harris's husband owns stock, is part of said companies or whatever the case is? Okay? Think about it, people. Now, the one video I want to show, there's one last clip that I want to show, so I hope you guys are still with me. Okay? I want to show it in response to a message that one of my subscribers left. Okay? And when I show the video, I'm going to read the message to what my subscriber left, so I can put context into why I'm showing the video. Here we go. This was put out a day ago. The YouTube channel is called One Woman, One Mouth. Check this out. And she's actually a reporter, I believe, on Fox. Check this out.
I was going to say something about Biden and Harris.
Yes, what were you going to say? Oh.
But I don't like to curse. I'm scared there'll be little ears listening.
Well, and you've been up here. You've been up here for how long?
Just 2 days.
2 days?
Sheriff hadn't left, and he's doing a fantastic job, so.
That's right. I mean, Sheriff, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all you do. I'm going to definitely get this up on social media. And we're going live tonight with Sean Hannity. But if you had a message for the White House and how they've handled the situation up here in North Carolina, what would your message be, Sheriff Wright?
If you're going to do the things you've been talking about doing, we just assume you stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area and the foothills take care of our own, because you're nothing more than a boat anchor.
No help. FEMA hasn't been helpful.
Wait a minute. That lady that's running for president talks about the $750. What about all that money you give to Ukraine and all these other people that really want to kill us, don't want to do anything to help us? Why don't you just give that money to them? That's who you want to give it to begin with.
And a lot of people have been turned down for the $750. Almost everybody I've spoken to hasn't received any of the funding, and they've been turned down for personal items.
Well, they talked about get on your phone or your computer. Do you not see what the devastation is? They don't have a phone or a computer.
There's nothing up here. There's no communication. I'm going to be posting this later. There's no way to access the internet.
And so anybody doesn't know or wants to know, this little town of North Carolina, this is one sheriff and there's another sheriff standing right behind her. These are the people to the town. These are volunteers. These are people bringing in their own equipment. Where's FEMA? Where's the National Guard? Where's the military? Where are all the people, the tens of thousands of people that the Biden and Harris administration could round up and send to do all this work? Where are they? I'm talking to you, lefties. Since you guys like to put out so much information and then call our information disinformation, so you're going to go and say that this man who's a sheriff, the guy that's behind her who's another sheriff from another county, working together to clean up this town, you see the devastation, they're telling you right to the camera, okay, there's nobody out there helping them. So you're still going to call it disinformation, misinformation? And this, I didn't put out this video clip to pertain to you. No, like I said, I put it out for one of my subscribers that I'll get to, okay? But I just want to point these things out. Because apparently I can't say that Mayorkas is a piece of shit for lying. Okay? I can't say that the Democrats are wicked and evil for lying. But yet they can say it all day about people on the right. They can lie about DeSantis. They can say and do whatever they want about Trump and his supporters. But I say it, and that's a no-no. Other people say it, it's a no-no. It's disinformation, misinformation. Let's continue.
Internet unless you have a Starlink net, and everybody's...
Thank you, Elon Musk, by the way.
Oh, yes, thank you, Elon Musk.
President Donald Trump, we need you.
What are the, yes, that's a message for you, President Trump. And I was gonna ask you, what are the most affected areas that you've seen? Is this pretty much ground zero from what you've seen, or can you?
Well, I think it'd be better for the sheriff here to answer for sure, because he knows this county a lot better than I do.
Here in Rutherford County, what are the most affected areas?
Almost certainly. Lake Lure and Chimney Rock is the most affected areas. We've had.
I mean, we're here in Chimney Rock, and I know that we're cleaning. What was Chimney Rock? What was
At lower end of the county, we've had a lot of damage, but nothing of this magnitude here.
This has just been devastating, and the people. For all of you out there, whatever you can do, whether it's Samaritan's Purse, whether you live in the area, Samaritan's Purse is.
Okay, somebody came out and asked me, left a message a few days ago, where can they donate? So you heard it, it's called Samaritan's Purse. I didn't know, I just found this out today when I was watching the video before I uploaded it. So look it up. To anybody out there that wants to donate, supposedly it's a reputable way. Look it up online, I'm sure you can. It should be easy. It's called Samaritan's Purse.
All these other people, that do useless stuff on the wall.
So Samaritan's Purse, that's it. Samaritan's Purse. Come out here if they need. I heard you need more hands, more help, more manpower in some areas. So if you're living out in the area and you have special skills and you can help.
Let me tag onto that.
Okay.
Don't just show up saying I want to help. You get in touch with somebody and get some, they'll give you a code. They'll give you a person to be in contact with, because we know you want to help. But we have to vet you, because there's stuff laying around here that people's worked all their life for. I can't just let a stranger, we can't let a stranger come in here and just walk up and down
They don't want looters.
We're not going to have looters. If you come over here and loot, just like in Spartanburg, you're not going to like us at all.
I'm laughing now because I laughed at it before when I watched it. I just love that part when he says, if you're going to come here and loot, you're not going to like us at all. But do you see how these people get together and they're trying to protect their own? They don't mind the help, but you need to be vetted. These are two sheriffs in two counties in North Carolina that the federal government, it's not helping. Because if they were, they would not be making this video. Okay? And I highly doubt, with all the destruction, on top of the fact of how they're talking, how they need help, okay, that they're doing this for political purposes.
Don't come here and
Rutherford
loot.
County.
Don't come to Rutherford County if you're going to loot.
Don't bypass Rutherford and go to Spartanburg or Greenville County either, because we don't tolerate you either.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me. I'll be back out here tomorrow. I'll be back out here.
Sean Hannity and call him President Trump. Call him.
Okay, and I'll leave it at that. But there you go. So this is two sheriffs from two different counties, but the oldest sheriff mentioned like another 2 or 3 or 4 counties where they need help. Again, okay, where's FEMA? Where's the military? Where's the National Guard? Where are all the people that the president can round up and say, we need vetted people out there to go help out all these little towns, all these little counties? But yet people bitch and moan and complain about DeSantis, that he's no good, but look at all the work that one man's doing. Okay? And on top of that, sending help to North Carolina. And New York sent help to North Carolina, and there was another state or two that sent help to North Carolina too. Okay? And the reason why I'm leaving this video for last is in response to a message that was sent to me by a subscriber. I'm going to show that message, and I'll explain why I'm coupling it. I'm basically setting up for it. Check this out. Here we go. Okay. Now, I put out that last video after reading what Pam left me a day ago. Okay? And it really touched me. She said, I honestly to God think I'm developing ulcers from getting so jacked up with everything that's going on. Take care and stay safe. And it's been on my mind all day. Okay? because I felt like I was doing something wrong, but it's not. I understand that a lot of this information is very upsetting to people. So I wanted to put that piece out for you, Pam, for you to know that I know that a lot of this stuff can really get like deep inside somebody's heart and hurt them, inside somebody's gut, and make them feel upset. But if you see, there are people that, for as upset as they are, like those two sheriffs and all that, they've kept a composure to band with everyone. And if nobody wants to help, they're going to do it themselves. Because I get a lot of messages of people saying, sometimes I feel like this is hopeless, or whatever the case is, you know, when they see a lot of this content. And my answer to that and to you is, number one, you can't lose hope. That's why I tell everybody at the end of my videos, stay vigilant and to keep praying. Okay? We can't let what the enemy is doing take out the ugly from inside of us. Everybody is capable of being good and bad. The two strongest words on the planet since the beginning of time is good and evil. Okay? Right and wrong. Okay? The two strongest ones, in my opinion, are love and hate. We have to do things. We have to push out information. Like I push it out to you guys. You guys take it, push it out to everybody else, because we love people. We love the people that we love. We're trying to help them. It's the ones that hate that want to bring out that hate and get our minds all messed up, get us so upset that it, like you say, you know, you feel like you're going to catch an ulcer or something like that. That brainwash people that all they want to do is hurt innocent people, like the way the left does to a lot of their constituents, and they fill them with this hate and this anger. For as much as it hurts, we can't let that eat inside of us, where it's going to start hurting us physically and emotionally, because we have to be the ones to stand strong so that we can make others aware, okay, of the evil that's out there. Like it says, this is not a battle against flesh and blood, okay? This is a battle against evil, against the principalities, against just the darkness, okay? A lot of people think that, oh, it's something that we can't see. You're right, but at the same time, we can see it. We see the physical person that's either willing to be good or bad. Okay? And I know that it's a lot to absorb, but you have to think about it this way, because even I get upset. And I know everybody has different ways of coping with a lot of things that make them upset. And the way everything is going on in this country, in this world, as of late, as of the last 10 years, like really heavy, we have to find a way to find, I'm not going to say glee. No. We have to find a way, how can I put the words together? To find joy in the fact, okay, that the evil is exposing itself. Okay? They're exposing themselves. Are we going to get mad? Yes. But just because we get mad, it should not make us, it should not destroy us inside. Remember, they're the ones doing it. Okay? They're the ones that are destroying by getting people upset. But we can take joy knowing that, you know what? God is exposing all this, and he's using all of us in some way, shape, or form to expose that darkness. They're doing the hard part. The easy part for us, or maybe some people don't think it's easy, but some of the easy parts for us is just spreading, showing people, and making them aware of their corruption. They're putting it out. Like I always say, the left, they eat themselves. They contradict themselves. They're doing all that. We're not the ones that are doing it. Okay? So when I seen this video today, I thought of you. I said, you know what? Let me shout Pam out, because these people that are in that town, like I said, you see all the destruction around them. You can see it. It's on video. But if you look at the calmness that those two men have, they're like, you know what? If you're going to come to help, but you're going to get vetted. But don't come here with your bullshit, because you're not going to like it. And they talk adamant about Kamala, about FEMA. These are men in authority in their communities. So we have to have the same thing. We have to have an authority in whatever community that we feel that we need to, be it our immediate family, our friends and family, like me online. I feel that I have to put up this awareness. It's not to upset people to the point that's going to get them sick. It's not to upset people to the point to make them want to go and hurt somebody. It's to let people know that, you know what? In case you haven't heard, check this out. Okay, this is what's going on. And it bothers me tremendously. Like I said, I've mentioned it a few times. I get so upset I want to punch my computer. But I'm not going to let their evil deeds make me punch my expensive computer for as much as I want. But I'm not. What I need to do is keep showing it, so like that you and everybody else can say, you know what, I didn't hear about that, and this information seems true. I'm going to do some more research, and if it does turn out to be 100% true, because Top put it out, then half my job is done. All I got to do now is take that and tell somebody else. If whether they want to listen or not, there's nothing we can do about that. We want them to listen, especially if we love them and care about them. But you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. But I love the fact that that you can say how you're truly feeling and leave me a message, because it's showing me that, you know what, people are understanding what's going on. And I'm not doing it to upset anybody, even though a lot of, like I said, I'll say it again, I get upset myself. But don't let their evil deeds make you feel sick inside. You have to look at it in a different way and say, you know what? Okay, I'm mad, I'm upset. I'm going to stay vigilant. I'm going to keep praying, but I'm also going to keep spreading this awareness, because we cannot let, now that we all know a lot of this information that's coming out, that these seeds are being put out, now it's time for us to water those seeds so it'll grow and everybody else can see. And this is a movement that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to end the video with this. I think her name is Donna B. I call her. She does a guest on Fox. Donna Brzezinski or something like that. I can't remember the name, but she's like a Democrat analyst. Even she came out and said it herself. What's going on, this is not about Trump. This is not about Republican and Democrat. She said, what's going on with the right, what's going on with MAGA, this is a movement. She said this is a very big movement that a lot of people are not taking serious. Think about that. This is a movement for America to be saved. This is a movement so people don't lose their souls. Don't go on that road. And because they're being brainwashed, that we can easily stand by and say, oh, well, that's them. And a lot of times we do. But we have to be able to be aware and put this information out without letting it affect us, because if we let it affect us physically or mentally, we're no better than the ones on the left that are out there hurting people physically. Okay? And we've all seen videos, if not by me, by somebody else. Because their movement is to sow chaos and division. Our movement is to bring people together, patriotism, love, and the love of God first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? So, I just wanted to shout that out to you, Pam, and to everybody else that's been watching. You guys have been fantastic with this movement. I love you guys. So, remember, stay vigilant, Keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children, pray for this country, pray for your enemies, pray for Donald Trump, pray for all the victims in North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, wherever, Florida, okay, that's been affected by all this. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.